evening, and welcome back to Chicks and Sticks, Cigars in the Silver Screen. We have a really great show tonight with Tim from Texas Cigar Rollers. So it's the first time I've had both a blender and a roller on my show. So that's going to be kind of unique, and so we'll get to talk about some unique things. So we're just going to get started. I'll see you when I get back. Hi, and welcome back. So I am going to bring on Tim with Texas Cigar Rollers so we can get talking about the fun stuff. Bring on here. Hi, Tim.
Hello. How's it going?
So I'm just gonna let everybody know that you are having a little storm there in Texas, and so you might have a little bit of problem with your internet. And they're probably all laughing because I have a problem every week. I have some kind of technical problem because I'm very technical. And so maybe this week it'll be your technical problems and not mine. But anyway, if we lose them, I'll just keep talking and we'll try and get you back if that happens. But otherwise, we'll just cross our fingers. So Texas Cigar Rollers on Instagram. Texas Cigar Rollers. So at Texas Cigar Rollers, you want to follow him because that's where you can find out about his cigars and purchase his cigars. So, so this is what's cool about you. You blend and you're also a roller.
That is correct. It's in my second year now of actually rolling and playing with blends, so I'm trying to just kind of come up with the core line.
Yeah.
So
when did you? It's only your second year of blending. What about rolling?
That too. I did it all at the same time. Yep, all at the same time.
Okay. Yeah. So how long has it 2 years since you very first learned, or 2 years, you learn and then it's 2 years? How long does it take you to really learn to roll? It must be.
Well, I went and worked with a Cuban roller. He was actually from Cuba. He's been rolling for 35 years.
Okay.
I worked with him for 3 days and he said, "You're ready."
Oh. Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't think that's right. But he goes, just keep practicing, and with the more you do it, the better you get. So, and that's pretty much true. It's not rocket science. It's taking some leaves and rolling them up. There are a lot of things once you start rolling that you got to figure out along the way. There's a lot of mishaps that happen, and you just have to recover from it and keep practicing.
Right.
A lot of frustration.
Yeah, I bet. Lots of do-overs.
Lots of do-overs.
But I think that's true. Sometimes you take to something naturally. I started beading class, and so I was making jewelry with wire. And it was the same thing. I took 2 classes and then I signed up for another one. And the ladies just said, you just need to get some wire and go home and just start doing it, because you don't need any instruction. And I was the same thing. I was like, what? I don't think that's true. But I think sometimes you just, you have a natural ability for things. So the rolling probably was something that came easy to you. I mean,
I'd watched some videos and really kind of read up on it and watched a lot of technique videos, and and it wasn't until I seeked out somebody that could actually teach me, that then I got hands on with it. So
Yeah.
once I did that, I mean, initially I was just going to do it for myself. I just wanted to learn how to do it. I thought I would be able to roll my own cigars and it'd be less expensive that way.
Right.
Not the case. Like every other hobby, you have to buy all the tools, and and it just led into bigger things, and
Right.
and and then I started doing events, weddings, going out to wineries, and just doing live rolling events and stuff like that. So that's where I really like to be. I like to interact with the people as they watch me roll,
Mm-hmm.
and watch me put together that cigar, and then to watch them take it and go smoke it and
Mm-hmm.
smile and actually come back and go, hey, that was a great cigar.
Yeah.
That's the fun part for me.
Yeah. Well, I smoked one of yours yesterday that had an Oscuro wrapper.
That's correct.
And it was delicious. So anybody who's watching, you can go back maybe just a couple posts, and I did a review. And then this one that I'm going to smoke today there's the cool. Let me show the cool label. Get it so it focuses.
My logo.
Look at that.
Yep. There's my logo on what I'm
like
calling
a cowboy.
Yeah.
With his bandana. I like it. It says handmade. Little red thing. So this one is a Maduro?
That is yes, you're going to smoke a Cameroon Maduro.
Cameroon.
And in that is it has Corojo 98 filler, some Dominican Cibio Valley Seco in there. The binder is a Habano 92 binder with that Ecuadorian Cameroon wrapper.
Okay.
So
and it has I want to see if they can see the cap. It's really beautiful. Look at the cap. Oh, focus.
And the cap is probably one of the hardest things to do on the cigars to finish.
I bet.
It's like wrapping any great package. You got to cover all the seams and try to get, don't show your tape and everything. That's the same thing with a cigar. Is the final cap on it is what buttons that whole thing up.
And then we just cut it off.
And then you just cut it off. And a lot of times if I'm live rolling, I'll just do a pigtail on there because they're just going to snip it. So
yeah, I think sometimes people like those.
Yeah, you just change it up a little bit. Yeah.
A little bit of interest. Okay, I'm going to get this lit up. I'm so excited. So when you're a roller, do rollers develop their own technique, or is it pretty much like you have to pretty much stick with this to get it to be consistent?
I think like anything, there's a certain standard, that guideline that you want to abide by, but it's all hand done. So yes, I think everybody's going to find a technique that suits them.
Right.
That really is comfortable to you. So
okay,
that's kind of a yes and no answer. I guess it would be that there is a standard that you want to stay in, but you can vary from that. And
so then you can kind of put your personality
in it, because look at all the different cigars that are out there. You got different types of caps. You got all these artisan cigars and stuff like that. Even in the blending, that's where your signature can really be, is in the blend.
Right.
So
ooh.
and the blending is, I'm in the infancy of all that. So
okay.
I'm still playing with putting things together and trying it out. So I do a lot of homework.
Yeah. So how does that work? You want to be a blend, say you're starting out, you want to be a blender. Did you do it just from your armchair, or are you going to have to go down to some tobacco fields and really get into the dirt?
I think eventually I want to venture into some of the factories, and I've
Hmm.
spoken to some people that I know down there in the Dominican, and they've given me some tips and stuff like that. But it's just getting your hands on the tobacco. So like
Yeah.
this is like a filler leaf here, so it's just getting your
Okay.
hands on that. And basically, I'll take a couple of these leaves and roll them up in a binder and
Okay.
smoke the individual leaf.
Okay.
I want to know what the flavor of that leaf is.
Okay.
It's like when you eat food, you want to taste some of the individual ingredients so that when you put it together, it doesn't contrast too much and
Yeah.
knock your socks off. So, and then this is a Dominican filler, and this
Okay.
is a filler that I got from Peru.
Oh,
So,
okay.
and so I've tasted each individual, and then I'm going to put these together with some other filler, and then wrap it in a binder, and then get it into the wrapper leaf here.
God, those are so beautiful.
So this is actually that Cameroon wrapper
Okay.
that you have there. And these leaves are about 18 to 24 inches. And you can see the pliability of this leaf,
Yeah.
the stretchability. And so quality wise, because this doesn't have too many holes, especially
Okay.
through the middle, this is a good wrapper quality. If it had too many holes in it, we could use that for a binder.
Okay.
So
I think that's a good analogy, like cooking. And as you learn to, you're probably tasting tobacco all the time, because as you taste them, then you're like, okay, I'm putting these two together. This might be really good with this one, because you already kind of know what that tastes like. Or I want to make this a little sweeter or a little smoother. So I'm going to bring in some of this. That's pretty, I think that's got to be is that the funnest part?
that is the fun part. I wanted to learn how to roll, but the blending is the fun part of it. You
Yeah.
know, rolling, I think, if it's like any other task. If you show somebody how to do it enough and they practice enough, you can do it. It's the blending and then being able to put out a cigar that people actually like. And you're not going to please everybody. Everybody has a different palate. But the feedback that I get, because there was a period of time where I was giving out a lot of samples and I just wanted feedback. Feedback for me was like energy. Hurt my
Right.
feelings, that I don't care, because I'll take my personal feelings out of it,
Right.
and I just want honest feedback. Because if it's good, or maybe somebody could tell me, hey, have you thought about adding this? They may be
Oh,
more
yeah.
seasoned palate than I have. So
Well, this is delicious. This is the third cigar I've had in a row that I could fall in love. I had a
yeah,
Rose of Sharon Cedrus,
that's a
loved
good
it.
one. That's a good
I
one.
had oh my god, what was the second one I just had that I
Oh, it was
it was by United
yeah, it
Cigars.
had like an angel.
La Giana.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fell in love with that one. This okay, so I smoked the Oscuro one. So it
Right,
was more
which
full
is this
bodied
one.
and stronger. This
Yep.
one is smooth.
Yes, that's more of a
Wow.
medium bodied palate there, but flavorful and
This
very
is like
smooth.
when you go to a bar and a guy says, "What's your sign?" This is smooth. It's interesting, but smooth.
There you go.
Wow.
And see,
I
now
like
that's
it.
that's the fun part right there, is when
Mm.
I've given you something that I've created, and you enjoy it, and
I
you
have to try not to smoke it too fast.
put the
That's
smile on your
good.
face, and that's great. That's what I'm trying to do. It's just
So
put out a good product.
how's a Cameroon wrapper in flavor? How's a Cameroon wrapper different? Because you don't get it very often. Like I don't. It's not as commonly used as other
Um,
wrappers in cigars.
I think it's all just down to the blender's choice, the factory's choice. It's a lighter color than most dark Maduro leaves. So the aging process has a lot to do with the flavor that's coming
Mm-hmm.
from it. So um, it just I really really enjoy the Cameroon wrapper. Once I started working with it and I started tasting the notes on it, um, I really fell in love with it. I really liked it. I liked the
Yeah.
way it rolled a pretty looking cigar,
Yeah.
and it smoked well. It puts, and then with that filler combination in it and that binder, it puts off nice creamy smoke.
Yeah.
It's just smooth all the way around. You don't have that after in the back of your neck,
Mm.
that aftertaste or anything like that. So
This is a good cigar for people who like a. Ooh, wow! I just got a really cool flavor of something floral, something grassy, floral. Even I even smelled it. I think. Wow. What's cool about it too is it got a little bit of red color to it.
yes,
A little bit
that's that
red in the brown.
Cameroon. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really
And
pretty.
yeah, it's just for me, it's an all around good cigar. It's one of those cigars I think you can smoke any time of the day,
Yeah,
uh,
that's
and
what I was gonna say.
it not set you back.
I think it's good for people who don't like a lot of pepper.
Yep.
Um, it has a little bit of spice, but it's not that harsh pepper, which I don't like all the time. Um, I'm not a big pepper fan. This is really this is my one and only. I'm gonna have to order some more. So tell me or tell the people how they can order cigars from you too before we go on.
Well, that for right now is kind of difficult because I'm still navigating the waters of the federal government.
Okay.
Um, but if people contact me and they want something, I could work it out to where I can get them
Okay.
a sample or something like that. But
Okay.
because I'm more focusing right now on the event side of things, is
Okay.
going out and doing the live events and just
Okay.
kind of just fine tuning this craft and the blending.
Okay.
But working toward getting the licenses to where I can legally sell the
Okay.
tobacco. So
Yeah,
people
I
can
know
certainly
they're
reach out. Yeah. I do sell merchandise and stuff like that, and yeah, I might throw in something a little extra.
okay.
So
Cool.
all they gotta do is hit me up.
So message them on Instagram. I mean,
Yeah,
that's if you're interested,
yeah.
message you on Instagram, and also following your Instagram, they'll know what live events
What
you're
I'm
doing.
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so like right now, I have a giveaway. It's kind of like a giveaway that I decided to do, but I have my poker chips. So
Nice.
I have 4 colors. So each month for the next 4 months, I'm going to randomly select a color. And if you have one of my poker chips and you have the color that's selected, you just have to take a picture, tag me, and post it on your story, and then you'll be entered into a drawing for a 5-pack giveaway.
Okay. I have some poker
So,
chips. I better get them out.
so there you go. So
That's fun. I like
I
it.
just wanted to kind of change up the giveaways. Everybody's doing their own spin on stuff, and that was just kind of mine. Let's do the cigar poker, and place
Yeah.
your bets. What do you
Yeah.
got?
Cool.
So,
I like it.
but there's another way. That's another outlet there that they can win something.
Yeah.
So I want to give
We'll
back.
keep it on the down low for now.
Yeah, and then this
Oh,
is a tray of
no wrappers, just binder.
no wrappers
right?
yet.
Okay.
This is filler in the binder, and so this is what it looks like when after it's been bunched, hand bunched,
Okay.
and then I put it in the tray and mold it.
Nice.
So these are ready. These are ready for their final wrapper.
So do you do this full time, or do you have like a job and you have to do this on your off time?
I have a job, and
Oh,
then I do this.
yeah.
So this takes up, my evenings and weekends, and any little 5 minutes I have here and there to read up on something or order something and play with it, smoke it, try it, constantly thinking.
Yeah.
Blend, I look at like the blend that you have there.
Yeah.
You know, when I initially did that, I had to tweak it a little bit because the feedback I was getting, it was like, oh, this is a good cigar, but it needs something. It needs something. And so I went back and added it until I got the feedback that I wanted to hear on it.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm constantly getting all this different tobacco and trying all these different combinations. But I think what I'm going to do is step back and focus on that Cameroon for one, and that
Okay.
Oscuro, and have those as my core two cigars. And I just want to perfect those and really
Okay.
hone in on those two cigars for a while. And then, still blend, but kind of just in the background.
Yeah. But you
So,
love doing it, right? That's your hobby, and
yep.
you can't wait to get home and do it. I bet. I know.
And a lot of times I just don't have time. And it's like, life gets in the way sometimes
Yeah.
of all the fun things we want to do. And, but yeah, I have my area set up, and I dive in there and get to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I just opened up the comments. I should have opened them up sooner. So hi, Kyle. And Brian, what did he say? I have not tasted much with anything I've smoked. Oh, maybe he's talking about he doesn't maybe taste flavor notes. I mean, not everybody does.
no, not everybody does.
No, and people do taste different things.
Yep.
And you can't be intimidated by those people who are like, hey, I can smell dry hay as opposed to wet hay. I don't know. Green grass as opposed to dead grass. I don't know. So, sometimes they get so specific. It's like,
Right.
I don't know. I can't. I just don't. I'm not sure about that.
When I taste the hay or the grass or anything, to me it just tastes like hay.
Yeah.
Like a barnyard.
All kinds of hay. Yeah. Yeah.
I can't tell if it's West Coastal hay
Right.
versus the East or the
Used
Midwest.
hay. Yeah. Yeah.
Moldy hay that's been sitting out in the field for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting too, because when I get this leaf and I prep it and you smell it, I smell a lot of times dried fruit and nutmeg and some cinnamon, some cloves, just even anise in some tobacco.
Every once in a while I get that in cigars, that kind of licorice flavor, and it's nice. It's kind of perks it up, and
And so, but then when I go to smoke it, I'm trying to think back as like, man, I was getting these flavor notes off of the aroma, but where'd they go? When you're smoking it, you're like, where'd it go? And then you could suddenly start pulling them out.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's your mind storing that information, saying this is what you're tasting, because it's what you smelled and it recalls. So who knows?
Right.
But that Cameroon that you have, I get the flavors I get from it is there is a citrus aroma that you get from it. Not much of a citrus flavor, but more of an aroma. But I get nutmeg and some cinnamon, and I think that for me is that spice that you're talking about that's kind of laying there.
It's not like strong like pepper. It's more like
to me, it's like a heavy cinnamon.
Yeah.
So,
and it almost has that taste in your mouth, like cinnamon is powdery. It's kind of almost almost leaves a coating or something. But every once in a while I do get something floral. I can't tell you what it is, but
It's there.
I can smell it more than I can taste it. It's like a whiff of magnolia or something, you know, one of those kind of flowers, just like this perfumey that just comes real quick. And then
dips and dives on you.
Yeah, and the smoothness is almost like I don't want to say this is really nutty, but you know how when you eat a cashew and you kind of have that buttery smoothness? I feel like it's like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I get the same thing. That I do get like a cashew light buttery, almost like when you eat cashew butter. It's more
okay,
like that.
Good. Yeah. I was telling my friend I have no idea what the flavor notes are in this cigar. I'm going to have to just jump out there and
just do it.
See how good I am. So I'm glad that was not way off base. But yeah.
What are you pairing with?
Oh, I am pairing it with just because it's a Texas made cigar. I thought I should have whiskey, so I made myself an old fashioned.
Nice.
But I Californicated it with that little flamingo.
That's allowed here in Texas as well.
Okay, good. Yeah. Do you have flamingos?
People will,
Florida.
There's a burger place that puts out like 200 of those pink flamingos in their front lawn area.
Those are plastic though, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You probably got one in a zoo. There's probably one in the Texas Zoo. Oh, that's what I wanted to ask you. Where in Texas are you?
I'm just south of Austin, right here in Central Texas.
Okay. So. I've not ever been to Texas, but I need to go. Texas and Florida, I guess, are on my list.
There you go.
Mainly for cigar reasons, but then, you know, once you're there, you can do other things. So I hear Austin has a lot of cool stuff going on. It's an artsy place, right?
Very artsy.
Yeah.
It has attracted a lot of Californians.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have
Californicated
our Texas.
Right, yeah. They're all like, we're moving out of California. Bye. See ya.
Yeah.
We could use a few less people in the state, so I'm okay with it. But yeah.
So
yeah. It's just it's different lifestyle, but I'm surprised here how many license plates there are from Texas. So I think we get some reciprocal. Yeah. And a lot of people with accents, and I'm like, where are you from? Texas. So I think we get some people back. So
do you think it has a lot to do with the companies that have moved here and they're going back maybe to visit or for work reasons and stuff?
I just don't know.
I would say some of that's probably true.
I think that our states are so different politically that a lot of people that move from California to Texas, sometimes it's politics. And sometimes just the taxes and the cost to live here.
Right.
But, you know, there's always people who want to move here, and with an awful lot of tourists because it's a beautiful state with a lot of really fun things to do. So, you know.
I was in San Francisco right before COVID hit. And then I've been to San Jose and kind of up around Sausalito and areas like that. So I thought all that was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's unique too about our state is so long that you have a complete climate change from northern to southern California. So the forests, you know, they have these pine forests, these lush forests, the redwoods, the sequoias, and then down here we have the desert, which I guess when I moved here, I thought the desert, like, who cares? That's got to be like ugly and barren. And it's amazing how beautiful the desert is. I have fallen in love with it.
So California is a lot like Texas because we have a lot of that too. East Texas is much different than West Texas, North and South, because East Texas is more green and lush. West Texas is more desert bearing. So
well, you have a pretty big state too, so it does cover a lot of land mass, and you've got like Corpus Christi and all that down on the. I met some surfers once, and they were like, "We're surfers from Corpus Christi, from Texas." That's what they said, and I was like, "Surfers from Texas?" And they were like, "Yeah, Corpus Christi." And I was like, "Oh yeah." You forget that, I always think of Texas as dry, but that's not necessarily true.
Everybody asks, "Are you a real cowboy?"
Yeah. Well, anybody from Texas they think's a cowboy, and everybody from here they think is live in Hollywood,
Right?
or knows a movie star, which same. It's funny. It's quite a country we've got because the states are so unique, and I think that's so great. And it's nice that we can travel easily and get out and see everybody's state and
yeah, and
be
and
united.
the thing about right, but each state has different rules and regulations on these things too. So
you got that, yeah. So we live in a state that's likes to take care of your health, and they're down on smoking right now. So
yeah, I think Texas is in the same boat, but
is that right?
Yeah, maybe not as much, but everybody's, they you can't, even a lot of places around here, you can't smoke indoors, or there might be a restriction if you can smoke in a cigar bar, you cannot have a drink or sell drinks unless there's food. Not a lot of places do sell the food with the cigars. So most of the lounges that you're going in are going to be BYOB. There are some that have brought in, beer and wine and stuff, but I think for the most part, it's BYOB.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what we're fighting here is you can't sell alcohol without food. You can't have food around tobacco products. So that pretty much means you can't have a cigar lounge with alcohol.
Can't have all three.
There's a few, but they're kind of grandfathered in. But so I don't know. Yeah, but there's ways around it.
Oh yeah.
Remember Prohibition? Yeah, remember Prohibition? You can't have alcohol. Really? People are going to find a way. They figure it out. So.
And from that, NASCAR was born.
Right. So, you have to be creative.
Yeah.
So, what was the tipping point for you where you said, I'm going to do this? Like, you were smoking. How long have you been smoking cigars? Because you said you were smoking and that's what got you into it.
When I went into the military years ago, I smoked cigars then, and then I kind of got away from it for a while. And then probably about 5 years ago, I kind of got back to it. I would smoke on occasions, a celebration or a wedding or something like that. But about 5 years ago, kind of got back into it to where it was a little bit more and more. And especially now that I'm rolling and blending and trying more stuff, I've increased how much I do smoke. I mean, and trying to take care of my health because, I'm not getting any younger.
Right.
But, trying to manage all of that. But the tipping point for me was I wanted to learn it. And I just went all in and said, I'm just going to learn it. And then I'm going to get the equipment and I'm going to do it. So, and the person that I went to that taught me how to roll, he was also looking for an event roller. So kind of the caveat for me was I wanted to learn how to do it. And he said he would teach me how to do it and in return, hire me to do his events. Oh. And so I was like, okay, that's a win-win for both of us. So,
right.
Yeah. So that was the tipping point, is just to just do it. And then eventually long-term goal is I'd love to be in it full time. It just has to sustain, everything that I want it to. So baby steps, crawling toward that goal, and eventually we'll make it there.
Yeah. Well, you seem really careful. Like what you were saying is you want to perfect these two cigars. Like that says a lot. Like I think you're being smart and careful instead of just producing a bunch of cigars that may not be successful. So I think,
Well, the whole thing is you want people to enjoy them, and you're gonna,
yeah.
the thing that attracts people to the cigar is the way it looks, the appearance,
Mm-hmm.
just like us, is you're attracted to somebody how their appearance, their outward
Yeah.
appearance. That's the first thing we see. That's the first thing you see here.
Yeah.
Then the next thing is going to be the taste. How does it
Yeah.
taste? And so I want it to look really good.
Yeah.
I mean, so I mean, I have a box of some sticks that no one will see but me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're the ugly ones that I've
Yeah.
messed up on. I'll toss it to the side. It may be a good cigar, but it just doesn't meet, my look that I want. So I just want to produce something that people are going to enjoy looking at, the flavor of it, and then the draw. That is an obstacle sometimes. That I'll pull one out that I've rolled and it's plugged. It's a handmade cigar, and it's going to happen. It would hurt my feelings if somebody got one and they couldn't smoke it, and I would replace it. But it's working on all those things, being careful, like you said, is to then once you get to that point where you can release it out, that's when I'll know I'm ready. Is when I get to that point.
Man, I'm really enjoying this. And it's got a really nice ash. Just look at it.
It's hanging on real nice.
Uh-huh.
So
yeah. Well, I don't mind ugly cigars. My first cigar was a Toscano. You know what those? Have you ever seen one of those?
Oh yeah. Toscano.
They're not pretty, but I kind of like that. I think that people need to understand too that cigars are handmade, and some of that I think gives the cigar a little character.
Oh yeah. And see, when I do events, I'll have some that are. Oh shoot! I've got a fire going on down here.
Uh-oh. That's not good in a tobacco factory.
No, my lighter decided to just keep burning. There we go.
Somebody down here is military veteran business. Are you a veteran?
Am I a veteran? I'm former military. Yes.
Okay. So he must know you, Brian. He said military veteran business, which I think is cool too. People like to know that.
I really don't tout myself as a veteran too much. I mean, when I was in, it was mostly peacetime. I wasn't in, after 9/11 or anything like that. So I didn't, I have utmost respect for the people that before and after me that have actually seen, stuff like that. And so I really don't tout that, I'm a veteran. If people ask, yes, I've served and technically I am a veteran, but it's not something that I choose to wave my flag out there on that a whole lot.
But, you have to remember, even if you didn't see that kind of action, my brother was a naval officer for 25 years, and he never saw, he had a few little things, but they were like things that U.S. planned to do, shoot some missiles. And I remember some videotape of that. But it's still like you've committed to doing that. And you also, I think when you join the military and you commit to that, you never know.
You don't.
You're willing to put your life on the line because that can be a possibility at any moment. So
the moment you swear the oath, yes, they can.
Yep.
They own you.
Yeah. So, you do deserve a thank you, and you do deserve to say that you're a veteran, I think.
And I don't shy away from it, but it's just not something that I plaster out there in the forefront. I just I'm a little bit more reserved with it. That's just my personal preference on how I want to present that.
Yeah. Okay.
But,
Brian said I agree. He said ditto, me too. So
there you go.
Do you know who he is?
Um,
I'm wondering if he's a friend of yours because I don't recognize his name. But
what's the name on it?
Brian Berg.
Berg. And if I say no, I if I saw a picture, I could probably names. I meet so many people.
Yeah.
Names for me are, and this is bad, and I need to get better on that. Is unless I've talked to you multiple times and been seeing you multiple times, it's hard for me to remember a name. I have to put some relevance to it.
Yeah.
For it to stick. And
especially some people have different names on Instagram, like I'm Chicks and Sticks.
Right. I know, I know a lot of the tag names, but I just don't maybe know your real name.
Right. Like when I went to PCA, sometimes people say, hi, Chicks, because, they don't know my name. So that's true. But he says we probably don't know each other. Well, thanks for watching anyway, Brian.
Yeah. No, that's
and
great.
Thanks for commenting. Yeah. This is fun.
Yeah, this is like sitting in your living room, talking with friends and just hanging out, having a good time.
That's what I like. That's how I like my show, is more like a chat, like kind of a get to know you, like what's your passion, what started your passion, I think that's, to me, that's more interesting, and it's fun for people to get to know you and kind of what makes you tick. What's your besides your very own cigars, what's your favorite cigar?
Ooh, that's a good question, because man, there is so many boutique cigars out there, so many. Man, that is a good question.
Throw out, you don't have to tell me your favorite, throw out like top 3 or 3 that you really like.
Well, here recently, I tried Decay Maduro by Karen Berger. That was a great cigar. Blackbird has a really good line of cigars. And the first cigar, and the one I always keep in my humidor, my very first cigar, was an Upman Banker.
Oh, yeah.
And so I keep those around too. So I would say, somewhere in that realm. But there's a lot of great cigars out there. It's just hard to say I have an absolute favorite. But to me, there's like almost like a connection with the Upman, because it was one of the first ones that I tried. Other than, the Swisher Sweets or something that you bought at the, when you didn't know any better.
Yeah. That's how I am with Toscanos, because that was my first cigar. Yeah. My son brought back a box from Italy for me, and it was like one of my souvenirs he brought me. And so I smoked him, and I was just like, oh, I'm hooked. I was hooked.
Yeah.
It was the cigar that pulled me in. So I do have kind of just a sentimental tie, I guess, to it.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's a good one that's coming out of the Dominican, El Pure. La Pure.
Okay.
Is how it's pronounced. He is producing a really great cigar.
Okay.
And that, I would say, that one was be the one to be on the lookout for. It's a medium to full profile. It's got the Criollo filler in it. It has a Habano 2000 wrapper. So it's got some very interesting. It has I think it's the Indonesian binder in it.
Oh,
it has some very interesting complexities in there. It's a really great smoke. So
I wrote it down. I'm gonna watch for it too. That sounds good. I know that the cigars with the Indonesian tobacco can be very unique.
Matter of fact, I got some that I rolled up last week that
Mm-hmm.
has the Indonesian binder on it, and it's a Dominican Nicaraguan filler combination.
Okay.
And I think I put a Sumatra wrapper on it.
Okay.
So
I wanted to show
then,
everybody too that this band, it could basically just fall off. And I was recently talking to a cigar maker, and he was saying how good that is. If your band is loose, it means it's been dried, because there's just a hair of shrinkage. So it's been dried correctly, and it's probably just right for smoking, and so then the band is looser. Because I think sometimes people think, "Ooh, the band is loose," that's a bad thing, and it's really not. It's just the opposite.
And it doesn't tear your wrapper.
Yeah. And yeah. And then, there's people who, I always ask people, do you smoke with the band or without the band? Do you take the band off, or do you smoke it with the band on?
I smoke it to the band, then remove it most of the time, unless I don't band it at all. And a lot of times, the ones I smoke, I don't bother banding it. I'll put this in, wrap it in paper, actually, in brown, like butcher paper almost, and then mark it on there what it is, and I'll go back and try it. This is actually what you smoked yesterday. So
yeah,
I made sure I ate a healthy lunch today, because
yeah,
I have a little funny story about that Oscuro cigar.
Yeah.
Is when I put the wrapper on it, I wanted to try it because just working with the aroma from it was really great. And so I came out here. It was a sunny afternoon. I had probably drank a little bit of water. I didn't eat hardly any breakfast, no lunch, and I started smoking. And I only had like a 4-inch cigar that I rolled up on the bench just to taste. I didn't get like 2 inches into that thing, and this is, I feel kind of almost embarrassed, but I had to put it out.
Really?
I was like, my head started getting loopy, and I was like, woo, this thing really has a kick to it. But I think they've mellowed out as they've aged. So
I think so too, because you warned me about that. I smoked that cigar, and I smoked it after lunch, so I had eaten, and I made sure that I did that, but I didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
But if I know ahead of time, then I'm a little more careful, because I smoke really fast, and if I'm going to smoke something really strong, I slow down a little bit.
Yeah. And this one, like I said, these have aged. These things are probably well over a year old. So I could tell it's mellowed out a whole lot. So
this is so good. I wish I had a second one. I never enjoyed them quite as much in my show because I'm not much attention. So I'll have to get some more from you. This is delicious. So I found out that Brian Berg is actually my friend. And it's true, his Instagram. So I know he's Brian, but I don't think I've ever known his last name. And he's something totally different on Instagram. So
well, I'm glad I didn't offend him.
Right?
Well, he'll love me anyway. Yeah.
He said that in Europe, people like regularly remove the band so as not to offend others. So I don't know. And Europeans are weird.
I know people that take them off before they light them up. They take them off. They don't want to like project a certain.
I guess.
Like, hey, look, I'm smoking, a really expensive cigar versus a less expensive cigar. So
I could.
It comes down to personal preference again, just like what kind of cigar you like to smoke.
I could see that, but it is nice to see what other people are smoking. I mean, I'm always curious. Because I'm always, what are you smoking? What are you smoking?
It's a conversation starter, isn't it? When you're at the lounge, hey, what do you got? Oh, I got this, and man, and then you start talking about it. So,
yeah, very true.
If everybody walked around with no banded cigars, then they'd think we're all smoking the same thing.
Exactly.
You wouldn't know what you had, really.
God, this is so good. I'm not kidding. I am really digging this.
I'm taking that as
I
a
like
great
I like floral
compliment.
notes, and it has that smooth kind of floral. But it's not wimpy. It's not like people who like. Uh, I mean, it has a lot of notes.
Yeah, takes you on a little journey.
It does.
Yeah,
Yeah, just like a
and that's
movie. Just
like a
like a
movie.
movie takes you on a journey. So now I have to come up with a film pairing for this,
Okay.
which I couldn't do ahead of time because I didn't know what the flavor was going to be like. So now I'm really on the spot. I'm gonna have to come up with something like.
So would you say it fits more well with a drama or a horror flick or a comedy?
Not a horror flick. No, a horror flick.
Yes, I
I
didn't
don't
say.
think they smoke cigars in porno. I've never seen it. What? No, I've seen any, but I just.
I bet they have.
Probably. Not a comedy. No, it's too smooth and but really interesting, like intriguing, and like you said, it kind of has these flavors that come and go. I think that cashew is really almost getting stronger towards the end. There's almost a little bit of sweetness.
Yep. Could be a little bit of like that cinnamon, almost a vanilla flavor hidden in there, maybe.
Mm.
Coat your lips and your tongue a little bit. That buttery kind of
I know.
texture.
Don't you want one?
Yeah.
It's buttery.
Y'all are making me want one.
Definitely. I can see this and the cinnamon for sure. I think I'm going to go with a film like. I'm going to go with Steel Magnolias.
Oh, nice.
A little bit of drama. Happy. But some serious. It's a serious cigar.
Some
Got
southern flavor.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of got that. What I want to. I don't want to sweet, but it has kind of that spice, and then the smoothness, kind of like that movie has. Really, it's fun and it's funny and it's uplifting, but then it's also sad.
Endearing.
So
Kind of
yes,
brings you in.
yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And
So
it's delicious with that old fashioned.
There you go.
Really good because of the orange in there. The orange in the old fashioned is really nice with this.
Pairing with the floral note, the citrus notes that you get there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really nice. That would be my film. What about you?
I would have to say I'm gonna go because this is a little stronger.
Yeah.
A little bit more peppery. So I'm gonna say the Terminator.
Oh, that's good.
Strong, spice. It's got some kick to it.
Oh yeah.
But very good. So.
And kind of a powerhouse the whole way through.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I remember of that, I would say that's a good choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But like I said, the trick is not a trick, but I get it's all in the art is the draw, making because you can mess that up, and there's different techniques, and when you're bunching the leaf, and I'll kind of go back to this.
Yeah.
Is so when you take your leaf, some people they fold it.
Okay.
Like that.
Okay.
But then some people roll it.
Okay.
Like that. And so I do a combination of both because you want air passage to come through that leaf.
Okay.
Because there's your cigars, right? So
yes.
as you bunch, kind of roll it and put them together. And so they're tubular. And then when you press it, it compresses it, but still allows that airflow to go through. Because, you know, being a little one-man operation, I don't have the draw machines to be able to test the draws after they're in the molds and after they, you know, right before I put the wrapper on them. So I have to go off of everything off my hand, the way it feels and how to put that together. And then you'll tear this off and then you'll kind of place it back up in there until you feel like this is a good bunch. You know, this is where I want to be. And then lay it in your binder and you just roll it. And then you press it. So
that's super interesting to me because that's one of my most important thing to me. Cigar is the draw.
Yeah,
I cannot stand a tight draw.
You could have it too tight or it could be too loose.
Yeah.
So and if your leaf is got too much moisture in it, when you go and roll it, I mean you're pressing it together, it could collapse everything that you've worked to get for that draw. Okay. And then, as we all know, as they dry, they shrink and they can tighten up. And so, almost, and I'll go back to contrast it with food, is like a brisket. When you're cooking a brisket, Texas style barbecue, that's a 12 to 14 hour cook. And you don't know how it's going to be until you slice it open and all your guests are there to eat it.
Yeah.
But that's
exactly like a cigar, right?
Yes. And so you got hours of putting that cigar together and you don't know until you've tried it how that draw is going to be. And each one could be different.
Yeah. Well,
out of that one tray of 10, you could have some that are too tight, some that are loose, and some that are dead perfect. So the skill, the practice comes in at feeling it and knowing as you roll, and when you place it into your mold before you press it, it should look and feel a certain way.
Okay.
So, and then
I mean that's got to be the toughest part. When you talk about it, I just think I don't even know how that. I don't know how people do it. It seems extremely difficult.
And it could be frustrating when you want, you know, if you go and like I grabbed one up one time and man, I really wanted to try it and I couldn't draw anything through it. I had put too much tobacco in it. And so there's another, you can put too much tobacco in it and it clog up your draw. So it's all technique and practice.
Well, I didn't have problems with either cigar, and this one has a beautiful draw, and it's nice. It's burning a little hotter now towards the end. It's a little bit soft, but not bad. But the other thing is, since I've been smoking it, people have seen it's a lot of smoke, which I like as well.
Yeah, mine as well is putting off, you know, a good cloud of smoke, and I'm not. Yeah. My cheeks are not tired, you know, because some you get. Oh. You know, some factories like tight draws, and they produce a tight draw cigar. And then by the time you get 3/4 of the way in, your cheeks are sore.
Yeah.
So
I don't like that. I oftentimes won't even finish a cigar like that. I don't want to work that hard at it. Kind of ruins it for me. This is really nice.
Also have a tobacco. It is and I have to go back and see how to pronounce it correctly, but it's called Flojo. F-L-O-J-O, Flojo. It's an African tobacco, and when I rolled that with some Nicaraguan tobacco, I put it in there and I tried it. I got this really fresh flavor in my mouth. Yeah. Not minty, but a real fresh and clean flavor that went through my palate. And I thought it was just me, but I had somebody else try it, and she immediately said the same thing, and it reminded her of another cigar that she had that same flavor note in it. And so it's interesting how different.
And it's hard to explain because you tell people it's not minty, but you kind of
Yeah.
have this glow in your mouth or something. It is,
It's a
I
really
guess,
fresh,
fresh.
clean,
Yeah.
and the only way I could really describe it is like a fresh, clean, sanitized kind of,
Yeah.
feeling in your mouth, but not minty.
No, no, but this one, the cinnamon, it's a little bit more spicy now down toward the end, but I keep getting that floral scent every once in a while. It's almost as if there's a flower bloom somewhere, which there isn't.
Yeah.
I just keep
And
getting this every once in a while. It's so nice.
as that tobacco grows on the plant, because one plant can yield the wrapper, the the different filler leaves, and the binder off of one plant, and you can roll a complete cigar off of it. But as it sits, the tips tend to get darker on the leaf.
Okay.
And so as you roll that leaf, the tip is going to end up being the foot of the cigar.
Okay.
And so you pinch off that and you place a little bit of it where the tip of the cigar is going to be, so that you get some of that as you go through the cigar. It starts off with that nice, kind of a strong start, and then it mellows out in the beginning, and then it starts to pick up some of those notes that you had in the beginning back toward the end.
Okay.
It's because they've pinched off and placed to the back.
Okay. I always wondered about that, if leaves were laid so that all the tips
of the leaves are in one direction.
Are facing one direction. Yeah.
Yep. And then, the different, like a viso is thinner than a seco leaf. And so your seco leaf, thicker leaf should go in the middle of the cigar.
Okay.
Because it's going to smolder and give your cigar the body.
Oh, okay.
Where your thinner leaves are going to be around it, so they're going to allow it to burn.
Okay.
A more even burn. So there is something on how it's built too.
Wow. That's a lot to think about when you're planting a cigar. I mean, not just the kind of leaves, but a part of the leaf, how tightly it's packed.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different things go into it, so it can be frustrating.
Yeah.
But pleasurable when you do it right. It's then you've done it successfully, and then the object is to keep doing it consistently.
Yeah. Right.
Over and over and over.
That's what floors me, is how people do it. Like, okay, I've got this blend down, and then to just continually be able to get that so consistent. But and there is a human factor in it all. And so sometimes if I smoke a cigar that has a really tight draw, I will give it a second or third try, because it's like you said, sometimes you just get one bad one, and I hate to judge a cigar by one try.
Sure. I mean, and when I roll cigars, I'll try one. I'll roll them up, wrap them in paper to let them sit and dry out a little bit, because they have a really high moisture content to them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll try one about 10 days after I roll it, and then I'll revisit that cigar 60 days and 120 days later, and make notes on it, and it completely changes over the time. So it mellows out, or you get more notes that you got before of something else. Those flavors start meshing together and just really just pinpoint where you wanted it to be.
Right.
And that flavor. So,
man, it is so complicated.
But I can go on and on and on and bore everybody to death with it. But
I don't think anybody's bored. People are saying thank you for the insight and listening to the construction. I want to it's fascinating. It really is. And it's really a talent to kind of get all of that right. And I love the fact that you could do all the testing.
That's fun too. Lots of homework. And
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
always says, "Hey, I'll test, I'll test."
Right.
You know,
Right. I'm sure.
and that's great because I want that feedback too. But
Yeah.
there is there's a lot of even before you roll it, there's a lot of investigative, like, prep that you got to do.
Yeah.
You sit there and look at your different leaves. What do I want to put together? I know this has this flavor. I know this. These two would look good together, or I would assume they would taste good together. And you can put together and go, "Woo, no, no, not at
Yeah.
all." Uh, Again, I look at it like food, uh, beer, wine, all of that. It's the same.
Yeah. So, so, here's a question. Are you going to name these two cigars? They don't have names.
Well, I call that one my Cameroon for right now.
Okay.
And I'm still in infancy, so is the way I put it. I will reach my adolescency of cigar making, and maybe one day I'll name it. Maybe I'll have a contest where I'll
Yeah.
name it. So who knows? Just watch, follow, and the journey continues.
Okay. That's great.
So,
I mean, that is so much information and it's so interesting. I think that we all, a lot of times we interview people and talk to cigar people and they talk about blends and all that, but it's really fascinating to hear the rolling process and everything that goes into that, everything that you have to consider and think about, um, beyond just flavor. So it's the draw and the burn and yeah.
and you think of the big manufacturers, they have somebody that does one of, you know, like they have somebody that just preps the leaf. They have somebody that just bunches. They have people that just do the wrapper, and then they have their old tasting panel before and
Yeah.
after. People
Yeah.
that sort for colors, size, shapes, they weigh it. I have to do all that.
Yeah.
So it can be daunting at times, but
Which
you,
is probably a
you
good reason why you're just sticking with two for right now. It could
yes,
be overwhelming. Yeah.
think about all the different combinations that you could come up with on all the different tobaccos that are out there, you know.
Yeah,
So
and the parts of the leaf and whether they're shade or sun grown or that all just makes a big difference. Yeah.
and supply and demand too. Like some leaf I've had trouble getting here lately.
Yeah.
So um, I did an event for the Asheville Cigar Club of
Hmm.
Texas at a grand opening of a lounge close by, and I rolled some Sumatra cigars
Hmm.
with not Sumatra. I did the Mexican San Andreas
Yeah.
wrappers on a Honduran filler, and I can't find that Honduran filler right now.
Oh.
So
So I've heard that
the
is
people
kind of a
are always asking me,
problem.
"Are you?"
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the leaf is scarce out there. You got these big manufacturers that are buying up,
Yeah.
farms worth of tobacco, and they buy them years in advance.
Yeah.
So I'm
I've
just
heard
a
that too.
small little guy in Texas.
Yeah. And I suppose
So
for some that could be a plan. Like you buy up a lot of tobacco, it makes it a little tougher for the boutique guys to get a hold of it.
yep. So in the big scope of things, I'm very small batch.
Yeah. Well, I
So I
love
could
it.
roll up 100 cigars, and I may not have that leaf for a month or two, and
Hmm.
I may or may not have something at a particular time.
Hmm.
And then once I roll it, I want to let it age for a while before I release it out because the flavor is going to be different.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, it's super fascinating. It was super fun to talk about it because I think that's just the most fascinating part. I would love to visit a factory one day and watch the whole process. It's fascinating.
Yeah, I want to go and see the big factories and then see if they'll let me roll.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I
I'd
think
probably not.
you've done some videos where you're rolling, haven't you? Yeah.
Yeah, I've done a few videos where I talk about what I've done in the week, and I need time. I need to get back to that. And then I have put some videos out that shows I'm putting wrapper on, rolling or bunching and stuff like that. And so as I evolve, I'll probably get more into that and showing some techniques and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
baby steps, baby steps.
Yeah. It is
But
fascinating.
it's just nice that one it's kind of puts me. I'm just a guy here in Texas rolling cigars, and then people from all around the United States that have tried my cigars, they reach back out to me and say, "Hey, that was a great cigar. When can I get some more?" And it's like, ooh, man, it's humbling in the fact that what I created, there are people out there that actually like it and that want
Right?
to talk to me and want to know what I'm doing and stuff like that. And I look at myself and I'm like, I'm just some guy that's learning how to do it.
Yeah. See, you
But
underestimate yourself.
but everybody has to start somewhere, right? So
Uh-huh.
Fuente didn't get where he's at, in overnight. So
That's right.
maybe one day, who knows?
Yeah, and you start these things and you think, well, maybe somebody will like it, but chances are a whole bunch of people are going to like it and then you're going to be busy.
Swamp,
So you
yeah.
have to be prepared. Yeah.
So just as long as people they understand that, I think, and you know, just one guy out here just trying to make a
Yeah.
great cigar.
Yep.
So
Well, actually, you have two great cigars. So,
well, I
so
appreciate it.
it's great.
I appreciate your honest feedback, your review
Yeah.
that you did on that one yesterday, and what you talked about here today.
Yeah.
It's that's the fun part of it
Yeah.
is seeing people enjoy it and honestly give me that honest feedback.
Yeah. I like having the boutique makers and the smaller people on my show because I think it does, like, it gives people really a chance to, that's the thing. Like, I've talked to other boutique cigar makers, and it's not that the companies aren't passionate, but it's like you said, they have different people making all these things. And some of the smaller guys, it's like they're so passionate about it. Their whole being is tied up in it. I
Yeah.
mean, they're just giving it their all. And it's always nice to support the smaller people, I think.
Yeah, and I think like anything else, I want to keep it somewhat small because I think then the quality stays there.
Mm-hmm.
And because if you create, of course, everybody wants to create something that's great and the demand gets high for it, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
think you lose something in all that too, because then it's just a machine monster that
Right.
then as it grows, you have to support it. And so you have to then there's quotas that you have to the demand and all that. So we'll
Yeah.
see where this journey takes me.
Yeah. And you
But
do
I
see
think
that. I mean, there have been some boutique companies that have gotten quite large, almost too large to be considered boutique.
right.
And there is something that's, I think, lost in that. So it's always nice to shine the light on, I think, the smaller people. And there you are, Raj, rolling cigars of it.
And that's why I started my Texas Cigar Roll platform was to highlight some of the other guys that are out there rolling that we may not ever see or know,
Yeah.
and kind of get them with cigar smokers to enjoy
Yeah.
cigars that
I lost him a little bit. We may have lost him. He froze up. Let's see if we can get him back, but might be. Yeah. Just having internet problems with the storm coming in. So, but wow, that was a great interview. Like, that's fun to really get into the meat of the blending and all of that. Oh, I completely lost him now, which is okay because we're going on an hour and a half. But that was so interesting talking to him, I think. So I hope you guys enjoyed that because that was kind of unique for me to really get to talk about, kind of see that process of the not just the blending, but the rolling and how the two of those go together, and how much goes into making the construction. So it's not just the flavor, but you also have to think about the construction and how the construction can affect the flavor and all of that. So that's pretty fantastic. So anyway, that was Tim with Texas Cigar Rollers, and on Instagram is just at Texas Cigar Rollers, and he does do video, like there are videos on his Instagram showing him roll, and he talks about all those leaves he's using and some of the stuff that he talked about here. So it's really interesting. So he's a great guy to give a follow to. So thank you for joining me. Be sure and follow him on Instagram, and maybe when he names his cigars while I'm back, maybe he's ready to name cigars, we will do something here with a contest or something, get him to name them so he has something more than just this Cameroon cigar. Okay, so until next week, that is it. And you know what I always say, be kind, keep reaching for your stars. And thanks for joining.